The next stop is Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. We land at Entebbe Airport outside Kampala. We are greeted by dancers and musicians, led by a man with a very large stomach. The next surprise is our police escort. The reason given is that traffic is so bad in Kampala that the police have to clear the way to get us to our hotel. We explore the Kampala Serena Hotel while the truck with our bags is stuck in traffic for another hour without the benefit of our police escort. The bags finally arrive and we finish unpacking just in time for cocktails by the pool. We are entertained by musicians playing traditional instruments and singers and dancers. The jug dance is a real crowd pleaser. Now do this while singing and dancing. And the winner is... In the morning, our group is splitting into three. The largest group is headed to Queen Elizabeth National Park. Another is headed to Rwanda for gorilla tracking, and we're going to Bwindi in southwest Uganda. With our police escort, we head to Gajansi airstrip to catch our plane to Bwindi. And we get the big plane, a Britten-Norman Islander. An unusual feature of the landscape are these rivers of marshland. The Kionza airstrip, our destination, is in the middle of a tea plantation. We buzz the airstrip once to clear it, and then go around for landing. We enjoy the Kionza terminal's facilities while we wait for the other planes to arrive. Our pilot, Emma. The rest of our party arrives safely. Mary distracts the local kids with some candy. Local ingenuity never ceases to amaze me. After a relatively short ride, we're at Bwindi Lodge. At the lodge, there are 8 cottages. Each cottage has a view into the national park. It takes no time at all for the resident cat to identify the cat lovers. Bird life is abundant here. To get us ready for tomorrow's gorilla tracking, we're hiking to a waterfall in the Bwindi Impenetrable forest. Our ranger guide points out some interesting things along the way. This snail is about 4 inches long. These tree ferns grow to be 20 feet tall in about 100 years. There are 3 falls, with a climb between each one. On the way back to the lodge, it starts to rain, and we get soaking wet. We get into dry clothes and bring our shoes to the lodge so the staff can dry them out over the fire. In the morning, we report for our gorilla tracking briefing. The head ranger explains the rules. We'll be tracking the Mobare group, the longest habituated gorilla group. They've been having visitors since 1992. We go several miles by van and then start out up the road. Our group has grown. There's Chris and Nora, Sherry and I, plus Winston and Elizabeth and Mary from our group. We're joined by Francis, a Ugandan medical student, and then we have porters for each of us to carry our stuff, and one more to carry lunch. We also have our ranger guide and 2 AK-47 toting guards. The road's not easy, but the scenery's nice as we gain elevation. We take a lot of breaks, watched over by our porters and the armed rangers. The road turns into a footpath. We're still outside the park, going through banana farms on the steep hillsides. The trail gets steeper, and the porters have a watchful eye on us. Our ranger guide assures us that he's sweating too. This is not easy. But for the porters who do this every day, this is literally a walk in the park. Finally, we get to a saddle, and the national park stretches before us. Our guide has talked to our trackers by radio, and the guerrillas have been located. The bad news is that they are 3/4 of a mile ahead of us and moving away. As we enter the park, the vegetation becomes thick and the footpath disappears. This is where the porters earn their fee. They push and pull us up and down the steep slope. We meet the trackers. The guerrillas are close. We leave the porters here. The trackers are cutting a trail with their machetes. Then all of a sudden, I see a guerrilla, 15 feet, uphill. The tracker points straight ahead. There's the silverback, Rohondiza, about 15 feet ahead. Rohondiza, the sleepy one, is the oldest silverback at 40 years old. He looks directly at me. I wonder what he's thinking. We watch him for several minutes as he breaks open the branches and eats the insides. Then he's either bored with us, or more likely, he's eaten all the tender plants, so he takes off up the hill. The trackers hack a path up the hill. There are more guerrillas in the thick brush. Kashongo watches us with her one good eye. The silverback climbs up to the top of a tree. Several other guerrillas climb up to the lower branches. Our hour with the guerrillas is up, and we leave them to feed sitting in their tree. The trackers cut a path back to the ridge. We meet the porters about halfway. On the ridge, it's lunchtime. We're quiet, reflecting on our experience with the guerrillas. Then back the way we came, with new appreciation for the name Impenetrable Forest. Kids along the way show us their guerrilla art. Sherry thanks our porters, Patrick and Caleb, for getting us to the guerrillas and back. It's official. Sherry made it. She's a guerrilla tracker. And Chris too. And Nora. Judy and Mike were in the other group that visited the Rushigura guerrillas. Their approach wasn't as long as ours, but they did their share of bushwhacking too. Mike got some great guerrilla pictures. You can tell from the smiles that they had an outstanding experience. After all that, it's time to kick back and relax at the lodge for the rest of the afternoon. I take the opportunity to look for some birds that I've been hearing. A troop of Calabas monkeys entertain us while we enjoy drinks at the lodge. The real entertainment for this evening is singing and dancing by the Bwindi orphans.
Education, come and see the use of education.
I am a dancer because of education.
Education, come and see the use of education.
I want to be a teacher because of education.
In the morning, it's time to leave with our wonderful memories of Bwindi. Uganda, judging from what we've seen, is the pearl of Africa. We get to the airport before our planes, but Mary keeps us and our bags under control while we wait. Men are mowing the landing strip with machetes. It's a beautiful day for a small plane ride. Here's what tea looks like up close. Our plane has arrived. All aboard and off we go. And a safe landing at Kumasi airstrip. A short drive to Entebbe Airport, and we are on our way. We get a view of Lake Victoria as we climb on takeoff from Entebbe. Besides the gorilla experience and a certificate to prove it, we add a gorilla mask and figurine, a bowl and a basket, beads and a bottle opener to our already overflowing bags.